There seems to be a great divide in today's job market. If you talk to employees, they're struggling due to all these crazy layoffs going on. They're struggling to find a job that is high quality and high paying. Many Americans are doing multiple gig apps, multiple part-time jobs, and if they do have a full traditional job, it's paying a percentage lower than what they're used to, even just a couple of years ago. But if you talk to the employers, they have quite a different story. We've talked about previously how employers say that they can't find quality workers. And we've talked about how Intel fired 1,800 of their employees and said that 1,050 of those employees are underperformers. But today I want to talk about the fact that 92% of employers say that employees lack the necessary skills to perform their jobs. And I got a couple other articles and a lot more statistics to share with you today. So let's dive in. Our first article today is from Adco. And as always, all the articles I mention are down in the description below, so you can read them in full depth for yourself. The headline of this is Impact of the American Skills Gap. In our post-pandemic economy, the unemployment rate continues to hover around historic lows. And thanks to the Great Resignation, where, at its peak, saw 1.9 job openings for every single eligible worker, many companies are turning to inexperienced staff to fill empty roles. Hiring managers now are more likely to extend job offers to people who lack the ideal skills, meaning that they have to upskill them later. This makes for a difficult dynamic, a dynamic referred to as a skills gap. According to our survey, 92% of executives think that American workers aren't as skilled as they need to be. As a result, nearly half, 45%, feel that they are missing out on growth opportunities, while 34% feel that product development is suffering, and 30% think that companies' profits are being hurt. Companies have to either operate without certain skill sets that they really need, or invest in training and upskilling their staff, which can be a costly and time-consuming endeavor, especially when considering the types of skills they are lacking. Hard skills versus soft skills. Where's the gap? It's probably unsurprising to you that there's a skills gap. However, that might come as a surprise in which skills are lacking among U.S. workers. In a recent survey, 64% of hiring managers said that they have difficulty finding employees with adequate critical thinking skills, while 55% and 54% said respectively that listening skills and interpersonal skills were the hardest skills to find in a job applicant. While candidates may look good on paper due to their hard skills training, they may not know how to effectively work with a team or in an office. Adding to the issue is the fact that soft skills are more difficult to learn than hard skills. Think of hard skills as more teachable technical abilities, making candidates that excel in soft skills hard to come by. Therefore, it's so important to look beyond the resume when making a hiring decision. You need to evaluate everything a candidate brings to the table, including soft skills, hard skills, experience, personality, and attitude. 69% of managers believe it is important for companies to provide coaching and mentoring on soft skills like leadership skills. The skills gap is a real issue that will take the effort of you, us, governments, and educational institutions to resolve. First, we have to understand all the details and data points surrounding it. Yeah, I'm gonna call BS on that first article. I believe that the real problem is that companies don't want to pay a fair wage to employees. So if you're looking for all the skills and training and abilities of a mid-level employee with the salary requirements of a junior employee or a fresh recent grad, of course there's going to be a gap between what you want and what you're getting, because you expect someone who's used to making six figures to go and make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. I mean, that is very unreasonable. And talking about soft skills like leadership and all these kind of things, well, if someone's a good leader, has good teamwork skills, it has good interpersonal skills, like, shouldn't you pay a premium for that instead of just embarrassing people with the ridiculously low salaries that you're offering these days? And then as far as hard skills, well, I mean, people have the hard skills, right? People have the degrees, they have the work experience, but once again, they don't want to do that at half the rate that they used to get. So the fact that you can't find anyone, I think, is untrue, especially in an employer's market these days. But you might not be able to find someone at the ridiculously low salary that you have budgeted for the position. Next, we have an article from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and it's titled, Understanding America's Labor Shortage, the Most Impacted Industries. American businesses are creating hundreds of thousands of jobs each month, yet a significant number of positions still remain unfilled, especially in the professional and business service sector. A closer look at what has happened to the labor force can be better described as the Great Reshuffle. Good, I didn't want to go a whole episode without a buzzword. While quit rates remain high, hiring rates continue to outpace them as many workers have been transitioning to other jobs in search of an improved work-life balance and flexibility, increased compensation, or a strong company culture. The U.S. Chamber is closely monitoring trends in job openings, labor force participation, and quit rates affecting industries nationwide. And sure, when it was an employees market in 2020, 2021, people were doing things to have a more flexible schedule. They were doing multiple jobs, like not wanting to go into the office, not wanting to maybe work as hard as they maybe had to. But in 2024, people are not getting multiple jobs for funsies. People are getting multiple jobs to equal the salary of one job. People are not doing all of these kind of different things just to have the flexibility. They're doing it to pay their bills. So the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is coming out with groundbreaking, revolutionary information. People don't want to be cleaners or landscape workers. They want to be in financial services and other things that are inside and are not backbreaking and physically grueling. What a shocker there. But those are all statistics from recently, right? From 2024. Their first article was an opinion in a survey from very, very recently. But this is not a new phenomenon, just like a lot of things are not new. Like AI is not new. I don't know why everyone is talking about it so much. But I have an article from 2021 in CNN, and it was the same kind of headline, same kind of stance from employers. And the headline was, nearly half of American companies say they are short on skilled workers. And the article goes on to say, America's worker shortage is alive and well, much to the misfortune of U.S. companies that need staff to keep up with demands. The National Association of Business Economics found that nearly half, 47% of respondents to its business conditions survey reported a shortage of skilled workers in the third quarter. That's up to 32% reporting shortages in the second quarter of the year, which already was too high for comfort. And nobody thinks the labor shortages will just disappear as 2021 turns into 2022. Right now, I think the problem is certainly corporate greed, and they don't want to pay fair enough salaries to anyone besides, the executives and the top of the food chain. And back in 2021, what was the problem? I guess the problem was that people were not going to put up with that BS, and that they had certain demands. So they had to pay a pretty high salary, but they didn't want to. Labor shortages are now a hallmark of the recovering pandemic economy, most prevalently in the goods-producing sector, according to the survey. Companies have a hard time attracting the workers they need to feed increased demand from consumers, while the risk of infections remains. Some people are also waiting for the right opportunity to come along before the return to the labor force, quit in order to take better positions, or are kept home due to family and care responsibilities. And it's almost a situation of employers like, oh, we'll show you. You didn't want to work for us in 2020, 2021? Now we ain't going to hire you. Even back then, when all they had to do was pay a fair salary, which is all they got to do now, 20% reported the job seekers who apply don't have the right skills. And these are the people who are just like not going to settle for anything back in 2021, who have skills and have abilities. They just want some flexibility. And they're saying 20% of those people didn't have the skills. And now they're saying a very high percentage of people, that one survey was like 90% of people didn't have the work skills. It's like, it doesn't seem to matter what's going on in the world or what's going on in the economy. The employers are never going to be happy with your performance. So the idea of just buying in that it's a family, it's a place that you're going to work at forever, that these people care about you, no. I mean, this is survey year after year. They might talk a good game, but when they're asked secretly and off the record, they're going to say, dude, you don't even have the skills to even do the position we've hired you for. So do you agree with these employers who say that people in the job market don't have the skills to do their positions? Or do you think it's just another excuse to lowball people on salaries, to not give them all the benefits, not give them full-time work? For me, I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but I don't think the prevailing issue is that people don't have the skills. I think it's that employers don't want to pay for those skills and don't want to provide the flexibility that people with those kind of skills want. If you're paying the same rates as from a couple of years ago, 2021, 2022, and you gave the people who wanted it the flexibility to work remotely, then I think you would get people with really, really good skill sets who have the hard skills and the soft skills that you need, who could lead teams remotely, who are good at writing emails, who don't need their parents in interviews. But employers don't want to pay fair wages, and they don't want to give anyone flexibility. Still in 2024, people would rather get multiple gig jobs, multiple part-time jobs, be a little bit underpaid, and have the flexibility and the respect from their employer than to work at the jobs that they were working 5 years ago and not have any flexibility, not be treated fairly, and just to know that you're just a number, and next Tuesday there might be a massive layoff and you could be let go without anything to show for it and without doing anything wrong. But please let me know in the comments what you think about this whole situation. Talk to you later.